There's been a lot of talk about Modern Warfare 2 as the follow-up and sequel to Modern Warfare 2019 coming later this year. Well, that part is actually confirmed. The sequel, not the name, but all this discussion is rightfully so. Modern Warfare 2019 put Call of Duty back on the map, for better or for worse, through the initial launch and throughout the main year of support. Warzone took the world by storm. The returning Captain Price and cast of characters seen from day 1 all the way through day 365 brought back familiar faces that struck a chord with maybe your younger gaming self, as well as likely introduced a lot of new faces into the storyline and brought in new players. Now, we've talked a lot about what to expect, but I'd be lying to say if this game would be for everyone. And that's what I want to discuss here today, because while everything seems so positive in terms of the development for Modern Warfare 2, there's that echoing mantra of, well, you're still not gonna like this game, which is true and not true. It just comes down to what side of the coin you fall on. But no matter how polished, how finished, how complete a game is, we really can't say one way or the other until these base fundamentals of how the gameplay experience is revealed to us. And even then, it's a matter of opinion. But today I want to talk about where we are and what we see now, and why it's important to keep a level head going into things with our expectations. Today, if you have anything to add to the conversation, whatever the case it may be, drop your thoughts below. But if you enjoy the video, drop a like on it, and if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with all things Modern Warfare 2, Warzone, anything COD related. If you're interested in any of that, I'd love to have you in the community. And finally, do me a favor, check out my friends over at Gamer Advantage if you're at all interested in protecting your vision, but more on them in a bit. So to start, we've heard nothing really negative about this game's development, right? So what's the point in maybe seemingly intentionally souring the mood? Well, firstly, I hope that it doesn't sour the mood per se, but instead balances things out on how we should view things. By all accounts, what insiders have reported, the lack of bombshells pertaining to this upcoming title's development in a negative light by Infinity Ward, this should be a stellar year in regards to the product, right? I mean, when you look at almost any Call of Duty game in recent years, there's almost always been reported issues developmentally, some with major curveballs. I mean, Vanguard, that was reported that it was in shambles all the way up to launch almost. Admittedly, though, I kind of thought the launch went way better than I expected, total weaponry-wise, map count-wise, etc. But the more that I dove into the game, I think that it really was a matter of all of the resources went into MP. Zombies was and still is kind of a shell of what Zombies was. Campaign was hollow without any spoilers for anyone that still wants to experience it. The main marketed storyline that they hyped up from the reveal only progresses in like 2 missions, and then MP was air quote complete. But to me, there's no way this game had a full 3 years of development behind it. At least my opinion and what insiders have reported as well. Black Ops Cold War, I mean, at one point we knew more about Cold War than we did Modern Warfare. There was that bombshell of a report from Kotaku and Jason Schreier the couple of days before a closed debrief for press and media of Modern Warfare 2019, before that was even revealed to the public, about how Treyarch had to come in and clean up the game that was being developed by Raven and Sledgehammer for 2020, which we now know was Black Ops Cold War. They had to take that over. Bear in mind, this was like during season 2 or 3 of Black Ops 4, or rather, I guess, what would have been operations at that point. Modern Warfare 2019, well, that was kind of the anomaly. This was something that had no real developmental turmoil reported. The worst thing that I remember hearing being reported about this was that supply drops are supposedly going to be in the game, but that was later not the case, of course. The files and assets were there for them, which is curious. I've always wondered at like what point they were removed in development. Insiders suggested it was really last second and very close to launch that they were pulled, which wouldn't surprise me. I mean, Warzone was chosen to be free to play very last second as well, so definitely believable. Black Ops 4 had its faltering in development, where you had that window get shifted and messed up because you didn't have a campaign, they didn't like where it was at, and they didn't have time to finish it, so instead, they made a blackout mode that was described to be as a miracle that it worked at launch. World War II, that was initially reported to be an Advanced Warfare 2, but was shifted to boots on the ground following the massive backlash of Infinite Warfare and then the sort of fatigue of Advanced Movement. Infinite Warfare, I don't know how many outlets reported it, but I remember talking to creators who had been part of the early demo feedback session, and they said it was perhaps the worst thing they had ever played. And about halfway through development of the game, they had to scrap a huge amount of what was being worked on as a result of that, which then leads back to Black Ops 3, a game that would have had 3 full years of development and early heads up on the shift to advanced movement systems like thrusters and jetpacks, probably something that was worked on with unwavering vision from Black Ops 2. Coincidentally, it was also the last air quote full offering that gave us things like ranked play at launch, including other things that were on top of all of that, like free run, that game mode where you could wall run and kind of the training courses with that, and nightmares on top of the traditional MP, zombies, and campaign. So you can see that all the way back to 2015 is the last time you'd have to go back to have any Call of Duty game without any major shakeups reported. except Modern Warfare 2019. Following the launch of Infinite Warfare, the immediate backlash was, well, on to the next one type of deal, where a lot of people just wrote it off, especially following Ghost. Though I will say, I still firmly believe that Infinite Warfare was a byproduct of burnout on advanced movement and a setting that was way too far removed for what made Call of Duty a Call of Duty game. I think if that game released as Infinite Warfare entirely independent of the COD IP and brand, I think that it would have been a very well-received game. But anyways, Infinity Ward knew that they couldn't mess up a third game in a row and get away with it. So having talked with devs, having heard this in briefings, Modern Warfare 2019 began development during Infinite Warfare's main year of support and never wavered in vision once during 2016 all the way through its release in 2019. That is exactly what has been reported once again here for COD 2022. While no name has been confirmed, there's ample reasoning to believe that the same thing is happening with what is presumed to be Modern Warfare 2. Modern Warfare 2019 broke into the top 3 most sold games in COD history in the launch month, then soared past the other remaining top CODs to be the most sold Call of Duty game by over 10 million more copies from what I would imagine is now outdated figures with Warzone after that integration happened. Financially speaking, popularity speaking, the game had an unwavering vision to do it again. So when a game has that amount of time, support, and unchanged vision, it's likely to be a complete game. Hopefully bug-free with plenty of content. I mean, Modern Warfare 2019 had that complete package, a riveting and compelling campaign, a full multiplayer experience with 39 weapons, 20 maps across 6v6 ground war and gunfight, missions, challenges, camos, and more, spec ops, and that entire world that came along with it. So Modern Warfare 2 should have that same intensity, if not even more. However, here's where we get to the maybe you won't like this. A full 3 years can create a polished, completed, bug-free game, but whether that creates a good game is entirely subjective. There is no right or wrong answer. However, what I can say is that we should have a level-headed expectation going into this. I am ungodly excited to dive into the story and universe that is Modern Warfare once again. See Captain Price and 141 here come back, but gameplay-wise, my expectations are almost non-existent until I personally play the game, which is what I think a lot of us should be doing here going into it. Modern Warfare 2019, by the same logic we're discussing here, for the good things being reported about the potential of Modern Warfare 2, didn't have everything good. In fact, there's plenty of stuff that I could not stand, go on to maybe even to the extreme of saying that I hated from Modern Warfare's MP. For example, time to kill. Way too fast. Squad spawning, my god, the amount of times that I'd spawn on a teammate and immediately die because of this system and how it shows spawns, no thanks. Get rid of that. Server refresh rates, well, those have all been outdated for almost all Call of Duties, so that's something that is just kind of a given. Map design definitely wasn't the best. Doors and windows, overabundant, arguably created a much slower pace in terms of gameplay. Mounting and then challenges that encouraged mounting definitely slowed down the pacing of the game. Kill streaks did not lap. So, for example, if you got 12 kill streaks after getting your advanced UAV, you didn't get another one. There's a lack of that classic minimap in traditional 6v6. Only Ground War had the classic minimap. Dead Silence is a field upgrade and not a perk. Ghost as a perk protecting players that were not moving. A very strict skill-based matchmaking system, and I mean, need I go on? I'm sure that you have your own list that is perhaps similar to that. Maybe not, but point being, those things sucked on a game that did have a full 3 years of development. So where's this all going? While we've talked a lot about how there's a lot of good seemingly coming to Modern Warfare 2, how this development was unwavering, and that Infinity Ward has been left to their own devices, been able to work on their craft and perfect this vision they have for the game, that's the part that may scare a lot of people, and rightfully so. That vision isn't necessarily one-to-one with a polished, completed product. A polished and completed game may offer a bug-free launch, solid offering of content and everything else, but the basic design philosophy of what the experience is totally independent of that build. You can spend 10 years developing and making a literal perfect gameplay experience, but if those gameplay experiences' core designs suck, that game will suck. Base design and fundamental decisions won't deviate much from initial concepts, and historically speaking, Infinity Ward has been a rather stubborn studio when it comes to intaking feedback and making appropriate changes. And I mean, as much as we may not like to think this, they don't owe us that, and it's their creative right to do however they want with their product. I mean, think of it this way. If you listen to a musician and they want to experiment with their sound, they've been doing the same thing for the last 10, 15 years or so, and they're like, I want to change it up. They don't owe us anything. We just simply consume their music, and if we don't like it, we move on. We check out something else. The minimap in Modern Warfare 2019 was a prime example of this. In our early play sessions for the alpha back in April of 2019, before the game was even announced publicly, everyone, and I mean everyone that was a part of that session, immediately was like, guys, you're going to want to change this if you ever want to hear the end of it on literally every social platform imaginable that'll be talking about your game. And yet, that minimap, that made it to launch. I think the only reprieve that we got was during a weekend of the beta where enemy gunfire showed up on that minimap, if I remember correctly. But thankfully, according to some insiders, maybe we won't have to worry as much about things like that minimap. Apparently, that's being tested with a classic minimap, so maybe that means larger fundamental shifts are reverted. But on top of that, I mean, I can guarantee 2 of those previous gripes that I had were built out because of Warzone. Dead Silence as a perk in Warzone would have been stupidly powerful, a crutch perk for sure. Ghost, I definitely think, was built out with the player base in mind to protect that. So that means those things might not be changing if we're getting a Warzone 2, also developed by Infinity Ward. So my takeaway, I guess, here for this is that for those that enjoyed Modern Warfare 2019, this is going to be a solid year, maybe 2. Of course, we did see that rumor that Call of Duty 2023 is apparently being delayed to Call of Duty 2024, giving Modern Warfare 2 the first 2-year developmental cycle or content cycle out of any Call of Duty game in history. So if you guys liked Modern Warfare 2019, it's bound to be an awesome year, maybe 2 here for you guys. But I had my gripes overall for Modern Warfare 2019. I still did enjoy my time quite a bit. It brought out younger espressos need to be the best in every single lobby. And sure, at times I've raged at stupid stuff in the game, but at the core, I played the hell out of it, and I think that I will with the sequel here. But if you didn't like Modern Warfare 2019, well, this might not be a game for you, and that comes back to what is likely the title of you won't really like this game. Fingers crossed Infinity Ward does make any fundamental changes here and design decisions that could please the majority of players, and it's not something that takes a deviation that we all think collectively, well, why did this happen? But I mean, it's quite possible. So that said, that's the discussion here. Keep your expectations level-headed. Go into this, all the excitement in the world, perhaps, for the storyline and everything like that. At least that's the way I'm looking at it. But until I see gameplay, get to play it myself with either an alpha or a beta that is likely going to be released here to the public at some point through PlayStation exclusive, or like what we see every single year with alphas and betas now. I'm not really going to have any sort of expectation. I'm going to go in with just nothing. What it is what it is, and I'll make my I like this or I don't like this decision a little bit afterwards. So that said, that's where I kind of wanted to clear up the discussion here a little bit. We've talked a lot about some seemingly positive things, but at the same time, it might not be positive for everybody. I just wanted to kind of separate those 2 topics of discussion where, yes, the game may be in a developmentally good state right now, but it might not be the state that you want to see, if that makes sense. But before we wrap everything up, though, I want to let you guys know about my friends over at Gamer Advantage. As we've always done, quick little recap here. Best blue light glasses on the market, so if you guys are interested in investing in your vision health long-term, these are absolutely the way to go. Most comfortable, durable, and lightweight frames on the market. And if you're at all interested in checking anything out, click the link in the description below, and if you decide to pick anything up, use code Espresso to net yourself a nice little discount here off your entire order. That said, that's where we're gonna wrap it up. I'd love to get your thoughts and feedback down there in the comment section down below. What do you guys think of this here? Are you guys looking forward to Modern Warfare 2 here in 2022? Or are you guys looking forward to whatever may be following? Do you think we'll have a good 2 years of support? Or are you thinking you're gonna like the game? Whatever the case, drop it down below. But if you enjoyed the video, do me a favor, drop a like on the video. And if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Modern Warfare 2, Warzone, anything COD related. We got you covered here on the channel. So if you're interested, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing. That said, thanks so much for watching. Honest Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.